Hi, this is Dave Kahle. Welcome to our Practical Wisdom series of podcasts where we try to provide wisdom and resources and focus on helping sales professionals and business executives sell better, lead better, and live better.
Hi, this is Dave. Today I received over 209 email messages. I had 35 postings on my Facebook page. I had an uncountable number of listings on my LinkedIn page. I had several voicemail messages. And this was all after having very methodically unsubscribed to legions of emails and registered on the do not call list of that tsunami of incoming messages. Only about maybe a half dozen were at all relevant to my business or my life. I'm sure my numbers are just a scant portion of those that some of you receive. You know, we're living at a time when the noise level of incoming messages has reached epic proportions. It's like sitting in the front row of a rock concert. The level of noise is so great you cannot possibly discern a single word. You know, our quantity in today's world has usurped quality. The negative implications both on us individually and our businesses, as well as on our society, they are staggering. Here's a couple negative implications. Number one, we're losing the ability to think deeply. I'm really concerned about this. You know, there are some observations of human behavior that ring true regardless of the changing situations. One is the observation from the famed educator John Dewey, who said this: there is no greater enemy of effective thinking than divided interest. Let me repeat that because it's a really powerful observation. There is no greater enemy of effective thinking than divided interest. Divided interest. You know, that's how much of the world, particularly the under 35-year-old generation, live their life. Divided interest occurs when your colleague looks at the text on his cell phone in the middle of a conversation with you. You see, when a teenager texts while driving down the road, that's divided interest. Flipping back and forth between 3 TV shows at one time is another example of divided interest. It lives in your conference room when your executive team glances at their cell phones in the middle of a meeting. That's divided interest. You know, while some of these folks may celebrate their ability to multitask, the problem is when you focus on multitasking, you trade the ability to think deeply about a few things for the practice of thinking shallowly about a lot of things. In other words, we have traded deep thought for superficial stimulation. I think I'm going to repeat that. That's the whole premise of this podcast. While some of these folks may celebrate their ability to multitask, the problem is that when you focus on multitasking, you trade the ability to think deeply about a few things. You trade that for the practice of thinking shallowly about a lot of things. In other words, we have traded deep thought for superficial stimulation. Now, this harms your business in a multitude of ways. For example, you may find the solutions to your problems missing important details. You may find knee-jerk reactions to customer problems or superficial responses from the sales department to requests for proposals. You may find it takes longer to complete tasks. You may find your salespeople being content with their current relationships instead of investing in new ones. In other words, in thousands of expressions, you may see the symptoms of quick and superficial thinking instead of the output from deeper, more substantial thought processes. Now, it may be harder to nail down in your business than it is in our larger society. A substantial portion of our society relishes their ability to carry on multiple conversations at the same time. Unfortunately, that is not a skill that advances the cause of mankind, nor does it lend itself to substantial contributions to anything. It's hard to think deeply about anything when you're responding to 3 different people on your cell phone. This lack of deep thought is beginning to infect our society, and we see the symptoms just all over the place. The current political division in our country is one such expression. There was a time when people who held different opinions could reasonably discuss them. That was called discourse. Now, of course, it's much more in style to leap to a superficial conclusion or to paste a label on someone and proceed without having to think deeply about it. Heaven forbid you think about it. It's much easier to react superficially. It's often more popular to grab onto certain positions because the herd holds them than it is to actually think about them in a meaningful way. It's easier and quicker to accept the sincere promulgations from an agenda-driven media than it is to look just a little bit under the surface. That's number one. Number two, we're hindered by this distracted attention. We're hindered from focusing on our highest priorities. One of the pieces of advice I give people in my seminars is this: focus, focus, focus. Ultimately, our ability to accomplish anything of substance requires that we focus our intellectual and emotional assets on that project. To accomplish the things that are most important to us, we need to focus intentionally and methodically on those things. Alas, the epidemic of noise prevents us from focusing. The tidal wave of distractions that fill our days robs us of the time and quiet that allows us to focus, and as a result, our businesses and our careers linger in mediocrity. We never attain the potential that we have because we don't focus properly on the most important, highest priorities. And we don't focus properly because the noise distracts us and dissipates our energies. Focusing on the highest priority tasks that are most worthy of our time and energy is an age-old strategy for living successfully. You may recall the sage advice from the Apostle Paul writing in the New Testament book of Philippians. Paul said this: "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." Now, it's impossible to think about the true, noble, right, and pure when we're too busy reacting to the latest kitten video on YouTube. The point is this: our decisions and our actions bring us our results, and they shape the quality of our lives and our businesses. These decisions and actions proceed from our thoughts. And if we think about the right things, and if we think about them deeply, we'll make better decisions, we'll enjoy a more successful life, and we'll have a positive impact on people around us. If, on the other hand, we allow noise to occupy our thoughts, then we'll think superficially about whatever presents itself, and we'll make poor decisions, and we'll initiate ineffective actions. The result will be dull lives, insipid businesses, and a society mired in mediocrity. Okay, that's it. We're done. Bye-bye.